Hello, 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 hello. Okay. Connor, hello. World, hello. Greco, hello. Matthias, hello. Hello. Blurry, hello. I hope everyone had a pleasant Christmas, a good Christmas, a solid Christmas, if Christmas is your thing. Jose, yep. Glad you're here. Avram, hello. Julian, Peru, Mr. Steak. Yep, I'm off to a good start. I pressed the right buttons. I've got me shorts thing shorting. Ah, got a slightly different camera set up. We'll see how it goes. Caesar, hello. So quite a lot to do today. Quite a lot to do. I want to attempt to get bindless textures working. So being able to texture our models. Bindless being that in sort of traditional OpenGL, sort of OpenGL 3 era, you have a certain number of texture slots, and then you have to bind a texture to those slots before you do every render. So the idea being that, I want to render this model with this material, and this material expects 3 textures. So every time I want to render that, I have to bind those 3 slots. Whereas what I want to do is, basically in line with everything else we've done, stick all those textures in one big global array that's accessible to the shaders, and then just index into them. No binding, no overhead, just like big array. Don't go outside the bounds of that array, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Noldiref, hello, Harand, hello. Yeah, so we're gonna get going, I think. I've moved my OBS setup, which I normally use to check things, basically over the sort of next to the camera. So I don't know if that means I'm gonna look more at the camera or less, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. I don't know. Like we're doing like it's reasonably balanced. This is modern, pretty much as modern OpenGL as you can get. Okay, so let's just see what we've got working. What we're working with. So far we've got this. Okay, so we can move around. Scene. It doesn't. There's no lighting. There's no textures. But we do have a nice little debug menu. So we get the log output here, which we did last time, and then we can click on objects and move them around the scene, and then we can change their colors. That's just basically what we've got at the moment. Oh, works kind of well. And we can scale them and rotate them and, but we want to texture it. So actually, before we start, there's a couple of bookkeeping things. Someone noticed that I have this rando header here, which I need to get rid of that. And I think someone was having some issue with an ext method in here that, was it in here? Yeah, GLDrawArrays ext. I don't think I need that. So let's just see if that still blends. And then we'll get on with it. Okay, that still works. So that seems like a commit. The only other thing I've done is I have prepared some textures to try if we hopefully if we get that far. So I've got like a nice and smallen this a bit. Got like a nice rusty metal with a, not that you can see it particularly well, a normal map and a specular map. So these are just PBR textures. So this is technically the metalness, but I'm just not using PBR, but I'm just going to use this as a specular map. And then I've got as well a sort of more classic diamond floor, which has much better, more pronounced normal map. and spectrum map. So we're going to try slapping some of those on the cube, hopefully. So those are kind of already in the assets. These are CC0, so I'm kind of okay to commit those. Let's just do commit. Let's just do some cleanup. Okay. Commit 1, done. What function pointer? I don't think there's a function pointer. The whole point is that with this X macro, it's all declared in one place. So by removing this, it also removes the function pointer. I mean, I downloaded some textures. I wouldn't say it was massive amounts of stuff in advance. Okay, so I think the first thing we need to do is there's an awful lot of like moving parts to this. There's a lot of bits we need to kind of do, a lot of boilerplate that needs to be done basically. So what I'm going to try and do is just work through them. I've just just realized something. I'm trying out, so YouTube has a new live stream feature where it will automatically broadcast you in vertical format, which means you don't have to worry about any plugins or anything like that. And I've enabled it, and it doesn't give you any control over which section of the screen it uses. So at the moment, it's just, where is it? Like this corner, this section here, like this section here, which isn't great. Things though, now that I've started, I absolutely cannot turn it off. So I guess that's there. Going to ignore that. Apparently, the ability to change what part of the screen it crops is coming soon. So maybe it's. I don't understand how that's useful to anyone, because surely, whatever you're streaming, even if it's gameplay or anything, you're going to want to be able to choose which section of the screen. What my concern is that it looked all right when I started the stream. So I wonder if it takes the first few frames, tries to heuristically work out where my face is, and then just uses that for the rest of it. But now that my face has moved, like here, it's no longer that. It's going to leave it running. There'll be some confused people who see that as they scroll through shorts. There's really not a lot I can do to help them. But yeah, what a half-baked feature. I try and keep each stream roughly self-contained to a thing. Sometimes they do follow, they kind of like roll over, but you should be able to jump into most streams and kind of get involved. So this is it. I could use the ATM plugin, but then I have to set up a whole load of bunch of new OBS scenes. And to be honest, like, I'm not that fussed about it because there's so much code on the screen and stuff. I don't know how great the vertical streaming experience would be, so I was kind of happy for YouTube to do a lot of the hard work, but what do I know? Okay, right. I think the first thing we need to do is be able to load resources, so that's kind of like the first, before we even get into the textures, before we even get into Bindless textures, before we even get into updating the shaders, we need to be able to load the images off the disk, and I made a bit of a pig's ear of this in the last project, and I kind of locked myself into like a simple like one implementation. So what I'm going to do is create an interface which allows us to implement different loaders, and then it's easy for us to change. So it'd be like a file loader, potentially a TLV loader, and then that means basically I won't get into this horrible situation where I have to keep packing resources every time I want to make a change. So I think the first thing we could do actually is, I think this all should be in a separate directory. So let's create a resources directory, and eSource resources resource loader.h. So this is going to be our interface. Through which we will implement. So classic sort of OOP, I think it's absolutely fine. So resource loader, public, private. Actually, there won't be any privates because it'll just be an interface. Resource. Virtual resource loader default. And then I guess we're going to want to use string views. They want named resources, right? We want to say load this thing, and then wherever that thing exists is fine. I've got people scrambling to see my terrible vertical streaming. It's absolutely not updated. I cannot believe there's no way to change that. Stream settings. What a terrible experience. Okay, fine. The OpenGL macro works by just basically, it's called, if you look up X macro, it's basically that. So it's a macro that you can kind of customize with another macro. It's dreadful and I hate it, but it is probably the right solution to this particular problem. Okay, so let's go string view, and then let's go Benny, thank you very much. Let's go core. Ooh, interesting. Where's the data buffer? Utils. I think that should be moved to core, but I'll do that later. Data buffer. And treat ourselves to a string. I think we're going to want to do something like virtual auto load string string view name string. Also, the advantage of this being mine is really lagging. I don't know why. Load data buffer. Yes, it's true. We might be able to do some. I need to as soon as I get reflection support in GCC, I'll be reflecting the shit out of everything. So don't you worry. Don't you worry. I do think you might be able to take. I don't know if reflection will solve it because you have to be able to introduce a function pointer effectively into the global namespace, and I don't know if you can reflect that out. Because you'll in your context for function, when you're reflecting over, I'm trying to think how that would work. I'd have to sit down and have a look at it. I'm not sure it will work, but I'm more than happy to give it a go. Okay, so I think this is what we want, right? So the kind of advantage of making this virtual or making this an interface is that stuff like caching and all that sort of stuff is purely an implementation detail. Like as soon as we have a resource loader, we know that we can load resources. But I still want so you have to remember that my requirement is that I need to be able to, I want to call it like this, as if it was a global OpenGL function. That is my requirement. So we'll see. Where was I? I was in resource loader. I feel like this is lagging a bit. I don't know if one core going. No, that's fine. Strange. Okay, so this will be our interface, and then we're going to basically do a file-based implementation of that, and it's just going to load files. I might map them in, just because I've already got the code to do it, and it will be slightly faster when running it through WSL. Yeah, not with these RAM prices. I looked at how much the cost of the memory in my computer is currently worth, and it is outrageous. What was the question? What is my opinion on vibe coding? Do I use LLMs to code? I don't use LLMs in live because I think part of the part of the fun is definitely trying to do is kind of typing it all out and talking through the process. But I use LMs to like generate code that I know how to write, and I just can't be bothered, like autocomplete stuff. I'm sorry, like boilerplate stuff. I think it's great for that. I think it's great for solving kind of like known problems, but for stuff that is, I don't know, new or novel or is, you know, stretching you, then I think you kind of, there's a certain advantage to kind of grinding it out manually. And vibe coding, I don't know, like I've vibe coded little websites and stuff like that before. I think it's great. It's I think it's great for stuff like that, and kind of knowing, like, I don't know the deep lore of every single language. I don't know what is the correct setup for a Python project with like the project TOML file and the requirements and requirements dev and all that lore. So like, create me a Python project that is reasonably standard. Boom, done. Don't have to worry about it. Okay, right, so let's do e source resources file resource load.h. Let's implement this. So pragma once namespace UFPS. We are hype training on Twitch. It's always a good thing, I think. So let's do hash inc. To be honest, I want all these, aren't I? I can't actually remember the last time I rebooted my PC, so resources / resource loader, and then we can do class resource file resource loader public resource loader public. Yeah, so we file resource loader override equals default. Fun trick: if you mark your deriving destructor with override, then the compiler will tell you if you've forgotten to mark your base resource load, your base class base destructor as virtual. So that's a nice thing to kind of just remember to do. Oh, we've been big raid. Hello, welcome. You're an interesting point. Welcome. Do ask questions. I'll try and explain. But trying to, I mean, ultimately, I want to texture a cube, which doesn't sound it doesn't sound that fancy, but there's an awful lot of work that's got to go into it. Yes, I mean, one of the reasons I went for such high memory on my current PC is that I've got to, like, for editing videos, it's kind of a must. Okay, so let's do auto. Let's actually just. So get rid of the virtual those, and then we can do override. Oops, hang on. Sorry. Get there in a minute. Override. Okay, so that should be enough to get us going. So this is how we're going to load files from there. I'm probably gonna, like I said, map them in, I think, just because I've already got the code, but we'll see. I mean, we can kind of. What do you mean by smoke test the game? Like, unfortunately, there's no real game at the moment, but we can sure test what we've got already. VS source resources file resource loader CPP. All right, let's add in some implementation to this. Resources / file resource loader namespace UFPS. I think I'm actually going to want a constructor for this, because I'm going to want to give it some sort of root directory. But I'm going to want to take ownership of that. So let's do stud string root. All right. And then file resource load. Sorry, I will clean up this misery in a minute. It will all make sense in a minute. Right, there you go. That's a bit better. Right, what are we working with? Actually, I might actually get rid of that. Oh, got lots of questions going in. So I'm trying to make a simple game that's like a simple FPS, or at least like a vertical slice of an FPS. So it should have all the sort of technical components of it, but it won't be like, arguably it won't be fun to play, but it will be fun to make. String root. Okay, fine. So now we can do root. I could take it by value and move it in, I guess, but I'm really like, this is not on the hot path, so I think we should keep it more, the code more canonical. Okay, so I have some. What happened? I do have some WinWAS code for mapping a file in. So from the last project, so I might just copy that. I'll go through it. Okay, fine. So from this, we're going to want include file system hash include windows.h hash include cstdef. Oh yeah, actually that's a good point. We should take that as a file system. Thank you. Good point. Let's do that. Considering my utility code uses that as well, so that is file system, and then 16g string, and then we get to use the horrific division operator overload for concatenating paths. Sorry, that's path, isn't it? Let's just fix this up quick. So this string file system path. No barrels yet, but maybe we'll get there. Maybe that'll be an Easter egg. Okay, right. So let's do. So I need to bring in some of my own other primitives for this. So this is going to have hash include utils auto release. And then %s game UFPS, because this is from the last project. Just quickly change that, and then we're going to need to bring in hash include utils error. Or I remember ClangD not liking this before, so this may not work for us. I'll have to see. But basically what this does is there's kind of three things you need to do to map. So mapping a file basically tells the kernel to just take the file from the disk and smash it straight into your address space. It is a faster way of reading. So there's three things you need to do. You need to open the file, you need to create a file mapping, and then you need to map the view of the file. But then each of those has a requisite undo function. So we have to unmap the view of the file. We have to close the file mapping and then close the file itself. So C++, RAI, these are all wrapped up in primitives that do that on the destructor. So the idea being that when all these go out of scope, they should call the requisite undo function. So this init function just returns all these as a tuple to basically transfer ownership. So the idea being, what I should be able to do is do something like const auto what are the orders? Handle mapping map view equals init root name, I think, and then I can just read from this map view. The problem is that I'm not sure this I don't even know if this is valid C++ or if this is or if I just got quite lucky when I did the last project with MSVC. We'll have to see what the compiler says. But then from there, I think, because I've got the root view, I think I can just do const auto size equals get file size of the map handle. I think that's a null, whatever that is there. That's the thing that provides it as an out parameter. Then I think I can return reinterpret cast const char star map view and then reinterpret cast const char star map view and then plus size. Right, that will construct it into a string, and then I can do the same here, but this will be a data buffer. So this will be a CF star std byte pointer. Std byte. I could actually probably template that away, so you get to call one line per one, but I think for now, I think we're going to have to figure out this, which is going to be a bit of a pain. I'm using GCC 15 point whatever, latest 15.2. So let's copy source game source. I don't know, what's a good one? Core CMake 2 source resources. And this is going to have the file resource loader, and then CMake. Where's the source CMake? Somewhere in here. We're going to add. Right. Let's just see if this blends. I don't think it will. No, not this time. Okay. Oh, well, I can't spell, which is a shock to no one. Celestial, hello. Yeah, typos do it hard. Okay, okay, fine. Only a wafer thin error. It's not a bad time. This is such a pain because I don't think it's gonna like this. Where was I when I was file resource load? I don't really want to spend too much time on this. Can I just do null pointer? And can this? I don't know why I've got this. Okay, it's fine. Right, so it doesn't like. There's too few init root. Oh. Size, why do I pass? Oh, you only need to pass size if you're writing to it, but that's fine. I don't actually need that. So this is more generic than I need it to be. So this can be open existing, and I could actually just ask for read permissions on it. And create file mapping. I guess 0? So map view is it's a unique pointer. Okay, fine. So that needs to be dot get. I'll double check. You might be right. Link. What have I not linked against? Why can't I find resource? Oh, have I forgotten to make them pure virtual? I think I've forgotten to make them pure virtual. Ugh, schoolboy error. Obviously equals 0. And we thought as well that we could make something else. Read write, yes. 21G only. Well, certainly links, so there's no reason why it shouldn't run. Just because I can't help myself. Auto load. It's actually going to work for me. I'm going to need 2, aren't I? No, actually, I think that might work. So let's do std file system path const path. As far as I'm aware, there is no difference between type name and class. That this is just less typing. Type name is also overloaded because you need to use it to disambiguate certain parts of the grammar. So I again find class, but I guess class also introduces a new type to the type system. So I guess they're both bad in that sense. But fine. I think I can do T and then CT there. Can I do T value? Is it value or value type? Hang on 1 second. Std vector. I think they have the same member type. Value type. Const auto pointer equals reinterpret cast T value type map view dot get pointer plus size. That's nicer. The nice thing about this is that because it returns here as it effectively copies the data out, then all the mapping gets closed on the way out. So we're pretty good. So I should be able to do return load std string root name. And data buffer. Sure. Okay. Hope you're okay, Harand. Yeah, like NeoVim's just like, or Vim in general, it's just got a steep learning curve. You kind of have to commit and kind of battle through it. Am I adding a pointer that might not be byte sized? That is true. I think it's okay because I cannot. This is not part of the public API, right? So this is constrained to here. So I guess the easiest thing to do is just static assert size of t value type is 1. Here you go. There you go. Solved. Okay, so that should blend. Okay, and then we should be able to go to main, bring this in. File resource loader, and then I guess somewhere down here. Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good one. Like, I'm not planning on exposing loading any other types from resources. Like, I'm definitely not planning on loading like wide strings or anything like that. But it's worth to. But it's like say for a one-line static assert, like seems pretty good to me. Okay. So let's do. I think I'm going to do this probably quite early on. So let's do auto resource loader. Let's just call it loader. No, let's not. Let's call it resource loader. Change. Well, right roller coaster of emotions then. File resource loader. So it's going to run everything from where we are. Like, again, that should be a command line argument or configurable. It doesn't really matter. Also, I'm going to introduce now a slight, not bug, but something that will trip us up later, in that I'm going to have to use relative paths to access the assets, but those relative paths might not exist in other resource loaders. So it's just something to be aware of when we get to it later. I'm going to have to do something like texture / whatever, rather than just being like a flat space. So we're effectively introducing a namespace around resources, which I don't think is a bad thing, but it just means that we will have to commit to that for any other resource loader. If that makes sense. Twitch views overtaking YouTube views. Okay, so now we can do this. Let's try loading a resource. Let's just kind of check this works. So let's do const. Actually, let's just do maybe unused. Const auto. I don't know, what's our favorite? I think the diamond one's quite good. So let's do diamond floor albedo equals resource loader dot load data buffer textures / diamond diamond floor albedo dot ping. Okay, so this should throw, I believe, if it doesn't exist, because this will try and load it. If this can't create it, sorry, if this will try open as existing. If that doesn't exist, we'll get an error returned through the Windows code, and then we just check that it's legit there. And then let's just do, I don't know, log. Actually no, I changed my mind. Let's do file resource loader. Hash include util / log. Log info loaded resource path. And then I guess we can also, as we've got it, size. Sure, why not? Treat ourselves. Ooh, Mysterious gifted a bunch of subscriptions. Thank you. How kind. Thank you so much. How kind. FPS. Why is that? Oh, because there's no std formatter for file system yet. I forgot about that. We're gonna have to. It's annoying to have to do another allocation, but what are you gonna do? Yes, I think that's. I can't remember if that's accepted into 26 or if there's a paper out for it, but stood file system doesn't have stood formatter overloads or specializations to be correct. I could do, but this is fine for now. If I have to do this more than once, then yeah, I'll go and add one. Okay, let's see if this works. It did not. Okay. Failed to map file. I feel like that could be 87. No, failed to map file. Where's the line number? Error 38, error 45, load of 24. Get last error. Oh, see, that's get last error. Interesting. Okay. So it opened it, but it couldn't map it. Normally it's a permissions thing. Or, do I... Is it the size? No, it's the get last error, but I need to check that. So actually I could also check what get last error, Windows error 87. Windows errors 87, the parameter, doesn't say which one. Doesn't say which one. Just says the error. Yes, I think I agree. I think this should fail to open. These should all have. Oh, I've done it more than once now, so I should add a formatter for it. At least it's here. So let's do auto to string stood file system const file system path return path dot to birth of string. This might look strange, but it will make sense because when I include my custom formatter, this will now allow me to format anything with a toString method. So I should be able to just now do path there. It should pick it up. It should pick it up. Oof, it careth not for that. Oh my goodness. Must be specialized for each type, but it is specialized for each type because my formatter accepts anything that has a string member. Oh, by value. Oh, interesting. Am I going to have to... That's really inefficient if I have to do that. Wow, this is not the problem I want to solve. And as soon as I'm going to end up having to do that anyway, I take it all back. Yeah, I'm assuming it was the size. I'm just looking up the dots now. I thought you... How are you going to know the size a priori before you read it? Or you expect it to call... Here's the maximum size. Sorry, let me bring up the docs here so we can see. We can all enjoy the Windows documentation together. Size high, it's be size low, won't it? Do not care, do not care. The low or the maximum file size. If the parameter is 0, the maximum size of the file is equal to the current size of the file. So I can just put in 0. And it's definitely not a 0 length file. So either the file doesn't exist. Curiouser and curiouser. Quite possible. Well, no, maybe. Well, no, because remember, I'm not. It opens the file, right? It opens the file for reading. Unless it doesn't like these slashes. But what's curious to me is that it's... Why would it fail to map the file? Really, this is not the problem I want to be solving today. Like, I'm nearly an hour in and we're not even loaded a file yet. Read-only allows use to map for read-only or copy on write access and attempt to write to a specific read. The file that the file must be created with a generic read access write, which it is. It could, yeah, but like again, I have opened the file. Okay, I have. Oh, unless. I bet this is failing because 0 is a valid handle because it should be the invalid file handle. I bet. Hang on, let me just. I bet this is. I bet it is the slashes. Log debug. Handle. Reinterpret cast the size T? Question mark? It's just a handle though, isn't it? There you go, fine. I thought my auto release had a start operator to return a copy of the underlying value. Yeah, boom. That's definitely -1. So that's failed. That's really annoying because I bet I can't have invalid handle value. That's why I had that there originally, because this is some special. I bet it's -1. Yeah. Reinterpret cast void star. Non-type terminal is not a constant expression. Because you can't use reinterpret cast in hoisted by my own petard here. But it is a constant expression. I just can't win. There's nothing that is implicitly convertible to a void star that it can be constant time evaluated, I don't think. Yeah, but it's whether it can be evaluated in a template as a template parameter, right? Non-type template parameter is not a constant expression. I'm pretty pretty sure it is. I guess the use of reinterpret cast means it is not. But then I'm surprised that didn't complain there. I think I'm plumb out of luck. I think all I can do actually is do what am I doing? Dot get does not equal invalid or was it invalid file handle? Was it invalid? Was it invalid file handle? Invalid handle value. I think that'll work. As in, like, I think that will still not run, but I think it will now point at the correct point with the error. We now get it on resource loader 24, which is this. Okay, fine. So what was the actual error? We now get, hopefully get better error, which is failed to open file, error code 3. But is that file doesn't exist? Cannot find the path specified. Okay, how am I going to do this? Oh, actually, hang on. I think this is easily fixable. Oh, well, absolute fool. Absolute fool. Okay, fine. Assets, textures, down for like this. Of course, hang on. But it's definitely there. Oh, 5. Access denied. Oh, it's failed to get map view. So it's actually, it has progressed. Oh man, this is so annoying. This is really just not the problem I wanted to be solving today. Why is this now failing? Oh, is it because I don't want all access? Oh, I bet this is read only. Desired access. File map read. That's that. This will work. God, what a side quest this is. There you go, boom. Okay, and we should see that in the logs. Loaded resource for with this many bytes. Okay, fine. Let's just comment up some of this because, my goodness, do I not care? Okay, fine. So let's do add resource loader interface, and then do add file resource loader. Good with that. Oh, and I probably want that as well. So for amend that commit. Okay. Okay, so now we need to think about building a texture class. I don't like the texture class I had in the previous project. It had so many constructors and different ways of building it out, because I think it did too much. It wasn't a pure abstraction over a OpenGL handle, which is effectively what it needs to be. It also did all the part, like the file loading. So I want to pull that out. That could just be a free function. So I think I just need now a function which takes this, right, and converts that into a RGB or RGBA triplet data buffer. So at the moment, this contains the data for a ping file. So it'll have the ping header, then it'll have the whatever it is, the mapping tables, whatever it is, I can't remember the image format, and then the zlib compressed data. I need to convert that into a raw byte buffer that I can just squirt straight into the GPU. So I don't want the texture class to have that responsibility. Thanks, CJ, very kind. Yeah, so I think basically what I'm trying to say is I'm just going to write a function. Like, is it really that hard? I think I might want to map out the texture class a little bit first, just so we know what kind of data we need to produce, because there's a lot of arguments and stuff to it. Which way am I going to do this? Source, graphics, utils. Actually, no, I changed my mind. I'm going to write the loader first. I've got a chicken and egg problem. I need to return some data, but I don't know what shape it needs to be. But I can't figure out what shape it's going to be until I know what data I'm returning. Let's make this easier. Let's do source graphics texture data.h. So I've got I'm trying to keep a slightly better naming consistency this time. So I have a mesh data. Okay, and this is the raw data for a mesh. So I'm also going to have the raw data for a texture, and then if we need like a non-owning view over it or something like that, we can have that later. So that's you got to start somewhere. Just got to start typing some code. Steady. So let's do class. Nope. Let's do struct texture data. No, I'm probably just going to use STB because it handles multiple image formats and it's pretty good. And I've got some example code that uses it. It seems like a simple resource to bring in as well. So this is going to have a utils data buffer, and then let's treat ourselves to a cstdint, which is fixed with integer types. So let's do std uint32t width height, and then a data buffer data. Grant, welcome back. Hope everything is okay. I'm going to call this data purely so I can at some point write data.data, which has become somewhat of a staple of these streams. I don't have a video on the NeoVim setup, but I do have my dot files. So if someone can do the runes, which also increases engagement. So if everyone can just write bang dot files, that's great. Struct. I think I'm going to want something like. So I know for a fact I'm going to want texture usage at some point because we have to treat sRGB differently to data. I'm going to leave that out for the moment because I don't need it right here, right now. But I will need texture format. Nearly a fatal mistake there. And then let's do RGB and RGBA. So this just tells us what we can expect inside there. So let's do. So this should be a owning construct over all the raw texture data. Okay, so That's fine. That's legit. That's perfectly cromulent. So then let's do source graphics utils, and then graphics texture data, and then we're going to have a auto. Do I want to call it? Do I want to be explicit about the image file type? I can't remember. Does SDB figure it out? I don't think it does. I think you have to just look at my notes. Hold on one moment, caller. It does have SDBI load. So I think it might figure it out. I think it might be able to like load image and have a data buffer view of image data, and then that to a texture data. Right? Oh, hang on a minute. I'm actually going to put this in a CP file so I don't have to keep tramping around all the SDB headers. Yeah, so data buffer. I don't often alias types precisely because it causes confusion, but I did opt to try it this time just to see how I feel about it. Because I'm always like, I think it's one of the only ways. It's a great way to grow as an engineer, is to try out new things to see if you like it or not. So I've just got data buffer and data buffer view as a vector and a span over bytes. I guess kind of gives it more of a consistent name. So everything is either a data buffer owning or data buffer view not owning. I'm undecided whether I like it or not, but I'm not going to go ham on it. Like that's probably the only one of the few places I will use it. But if you overuse it, it can, until you are worked in the code base a little bit and are familiar with those terms. You're effectively introducing new vocabulary types into the project. Until you're familiar with them, it does actually make the code harder to read. Oh, I think I've just realised an issue, and I apologise to Blurry there for Nightbot's overzealous. I had an issue with a very disruptive personal chat using a lot of unnecessary religious text. So I had to ban the word Jesus. Maybe I should relinquish that now. So apologies if you get caught out by that. I'll try. I'm not gonna have time to do it now, but I'll try and do that for the next stream. So just be aware, Nightbot is out for you. It's not misfiring. It's behaving exactly as intended because I had such an issue with it. Anyway, right, we're not making any progress, and progress must be made. So let's source graphics utils.cpp, bring that over here, and then we're going to want something like hash include graphics utils namespace of and then bring out hash include graphics texture data hash include utils data buffer, and then bring that over here, bring that here, stick that there, this, that, and the other. Bish bash bosh. Don't CMake graphics mopqrs utils.cpp. All right, let's bring that in here. Okay, so now I'm going to need to oh, actually, hang on. That's a good point. How does one SDB? I need to bring it in to the project. lib. Right, I think I want this. CMake. Bring you in there. So CMake SDB is a CE. I think it's C only. It's a C only library for passing various image formats. It doesn't have a version. It doesn't use CMake, but this will just bring them in, and then we should be able to just include them in the project to build. It should be the same on both, by the way. Nightbot, the settings are reasonably synced. How does one include SDB in this? I think I just have to include the... I think is it header only? No, I think I just have to... somewhere in here... I think I just have to do this. SDB lib source.dir. I think that's what I need. We'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. And then what did I do in the last project? I did something. STB. Okay, fine. So I can now go to utils. Should be able to hang on. What do I like? What order do I like? I like third party here. SDB.h or pass SDB image.h. Why is that not? Oh, I suppose it won't have pulled down the files yet, will it? Let's just rerun the build and pull those in. Unused, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine, that's all perfectly legit. If it got past these tokens and it's complaining here, it's definitely found it. And then, so what do I need to do? Okay. So I need to, first of all, get some information out of it. So we're going to do auto width equals int, auto height equals int. For some reason they use sign types, even though you're pretty sure you can never have a negative width, but what do I know? Num channels equals int. And then we're going to do hash include utils/error. Ensure SDBI info from memory. I think I can then do image data dot data. Is it? Do I then need to pass in a size? Ugh. Width, height, channels equals. Ensure equals 1. Otherwise, I failed to get image info. Two few arguments. I bet size I need. Image data dot. I'm just guessing now. It's normally a pointer and a size. Casting issues. Unsigned chart with a pointer of substance. Fine. Const stbiuc. Sure. Interpret cast. Const stbiuc. Yes, I forgot STB is header only. Yeah, but I think you only need the implementation for writing. I think reading is okay. Or do you have to put in? I know you have to put in the header once. Good point. I might be missing that. Give me a second. It's a really weird, like, laid out project. Yes, you're right. I do need that, obviously. Otherwise, it's just a poor declaration of all the functions. Yep, well done. Yep. I don't think I actually need this. I think I can just do load from memory, and I think it fills out these as well. And then that will give me a pointer, which means, oh, hang on. I need to RAI up this auto raw data equals stood unique pointer stbi uc, and then that will be a void star and then we load the data into that, and then we pass in stbi image free. Too few arguments, cool, for 5. Pointer, size, width, height, and a 0. And then we can do ensure raw data failed to read, failed to parse image texture data. And then return. Actually, what am I was thinking I could just create the struct and have this write directly into it, but they are different types. So I think what I will do is do instead return and then do dot width equals. I think I'll implicit cast. Oh no, because it's a narrow. Getting a lot of typing mileage out of this. And then format. Okay, let's do namespace. Nope. Let's do auto channels to format int num channels, and that will become a UFS texture format, and switch num channels. Case 3 return UFS. Return UFS texture format RGB. Let's hope it's not BGR or some other esoteric thing. RA, and then let's do default will be to throw UFS exception unsupported channel count num channels. I guess actually instead stick that out there. That'll be fine. There you go. Yeah, using the namespace gives it what's called internal linkage. So it means this symbol is now only visible to this CPP file and nothing else, this translation unit. Did I type it wrong or whatever? Doesn't matter. That's actually probably clearer anyway. Okay, so then we can do dot format equals channels to format dump channels, and then we can do dot data equals raw data dot get. Might have to cast that again. Raw data dot get plus. Ooh, how do I know how big it is after it's been? I suppose it's width times height, isn't it? Width times height times num channels. None of that is valid C++. Get rid of this. Missed some brackets somewhere. Was it not like this? No. I bet it doesn't like this. Const auto pointer equals reinterpret cast consted by pointer raw data dot get, and then let's try it again. Let's do pointer. Don't want to get rid of all that, did I? Or full pointer. There you go. Just need more reinterpret cast. I haven't even got to the OpenGL part yet. Okay, right, so now that means we can take it, pass out the data, and get a bunch of primitives. So now we can start looking at doing the actual OpenGL texture implementation. Let's just check this works. Unused const auto diamond floor albedo equals UFS load texture. Should just be able to put the data in there. Why is that? Is it because it's not const? I use caps lock. I've remapped escape to caps lock, and I use caps lock to get into normal mode. Is it const? Is it a const issue again? What if I need like a custom deduction guide for that? Cannot buy non-const LRAP reference. Have I got a... wait a minute, don't I want third as bytes? I guess that would, no, because that, can I change the return type of add bytes? it should infer that. Why is it not? I've had this issue before. I can't remember why it's not constructing a span around it. I mean, probably helps if I actually include that. It's almost certainly going to be transitively included anyway. I mean, I could do downfall data dot data downfall base data dot size. Yeah, I just. Well, I don't know why this always trips me up. Oh, hang on, what's this? What is that? Oh, was my mug in the way? I had this. Definitely don't want that. Don't want to take it as I'm passing my value. So I think this might just be a mess of my own making. So actually I should now just deduce it. So I should be able to just do. There you go. I was surprised that didn't work. I think the advantage, so there is an advantage to using an anonymous namespace. One, I think static is already overloaded because it already means different things in different places. So I think it's semantically clearer, but two, the other advantage is that you can put types in an anonymous namespace. So you can't create a static class that is only restricted to that translation unit. Whereas with an anonymous namespace, the functions and the enums and the classes and the structs all get the same treatment. So that's why I prefer it. Well, no, because I marked it as a L value reference, I cannot bind an R value reference to it, right? And this would be an R value reference because this is a PR value. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Interesting. Why is that? Like, this isn't a PR value, but this is, I guess, because this was const, and it was trying to bind a const ref to a non-const L value ref. Yes, that's why. But it should be passed by value anyway. I should get a fresh one. They're cheap to copy. Okay. Can you please just tell me where in my code the mistake is? I don't care about STB. Tell me where my mistake is. Like, again, I understand that this might be relevant to me at some point, but I really need to start off with where my mistake is. It there? No, that's in file included. Because I don't call this function. Cast from type. Here you go. It's definitely a cast. I've got a const issue somewhere. We'll just grind it out. Where were we? Utils. See, I think this should be fine because I want this to be const. I guess I could try and remove the. No, this wants a const buffer, right? Ugh, int length. Ugh. So it's here. So this was the start mem. So it doesn't like buffer. But it wants it as a const. But you see what I mean, right? This is pointed to. pointed to a const stbiuc. I've got that right, haven't I? stbiuc. So why is this having a bad time? See, I think it's their code. Oh Christ, I know why. It's because it's a C library, right? So they are well within their rights to use a C-style cast remove const. Right? Their code, they're doing what they're doing. But because it's header only, it's inheriting my compiler flags. So my error cast qual is flagging that. Oh, what an absolute flipping nightmare that is. I mean, I could just remove the offending flag. Just rebuild everything. I don't really want to lower myself down to their level, but the other alternative is I have to build their code into a separate library with separate flags and then link that in. But because it's header only, I then have to provide like a stub C file. Bugger it, like that. That works. Oh, that was grim. Do not care for that. Well, but I think it's to do with the curious way SDBI works, right? It's all in the header file, but if you define this, it then also includes the implementation in that header file. So this just gets copy and pasted into this translation unit, and this translation unit gets compiled with all my regular flags. There is no source file. Can you just rapidly include with an ignore? Possibly. I would prefer that. Hang on. What was it? To be honest, I think this might be fine. I cannot be bothered to set up any more build infrastructure for this. Ooh, no, okay. I wonder if this is some sort of horrific macro which gets expanded here later. So it's not within this part of the code. I'm just going to remove that error and I'm going to create it to do. This is in the tech debt section. Fix STB forcing us to remove a warning. So, it now. Okay, cool. What I probably should do is bring it into the third-party directory, have it already checked out, and then build it separately. But it's fine. I think it's fine. Yeah. Problem is that there's no CPP file, so I'd have to have some sort of empty CPP file that includes it all. I guess we'd just have this in it. Like CPP file would literally just have this in. I don't care. Not the problem I want to solve today, but it is interesting. The joys of C++. Okay, fine. So now we can load a texture. Let's just check this actually does load. Oh, did I put the flag back? Thank you. I get to rebuild all. Okay, that works. Let's just commit this up. So what do? We have add texture data struct. Might actually write some OpenGL in a minute. Add helper function to parse image formats. That needs to be part of that commit. I was not paying attention. Okay, cool. Well, actually, I'm actually off work now for until the 5th, so I have no rush to get to work tomorrow. So I might push a little bit longer tonight, try and get this done. Okay, so now we can have a texture class, which does the OpenGL gubbins. So let's do e in source graphics texture.h. Sucks to be you, my friend. Program. The project is not. I think it's stream 9. Stream 9, so not very far at all. Before I forget, there will be no. I am away for a bit between now and New Year, so there'll be no stream this Wednesday, but I should be back this time next week on the Sunday, so that should be fine. Graphics. Oh Jesus, cannot type today. Graphics texture data. So I should be able to just construct this purely from a texture data. Const texture data texture stud string name. I'm trying to give things more meaningful names in this project, especially as I want better in GUI integration. Wrong. Okay, and then I'm going to need hash include graphics OpenGL. It's going to look very much like a buffer, actually, isn't it? So I just get away with family for a few days. That'll be our actual texture. Oh, it's not going to be a Gluint anymore, isn't it? Isn't it going to be a Gluint 64? Because of the bindlessness. That gives a 64-bit handle, right? Question mark? Let's look at my notes. Oh, bugger, I've got to do a sampler as well. Right, let's do that first. Sorry, so a sampler is the OpenGL primitive that tells basically the graphics card how to interpret the texture data. So the min filter, the mag filter, how it wraps. I do need that first because I like to keep it separate. So let's just super quickly knock out that. In fact, I think I can probably pretty much just steal the implementation from the previous project because it was pretty simple. /game/UFPS. This is not interesting code. This just tells it what the various things I want around the various ways of interpreting image data. Then just work with it. Okay. So all this does is create a sampler object, set some parameters, set the anisotropy, which makes things look less shit, and expose the native handle. That's all we need for that. Auto release is basically my own custom unique pointer that works with like integral handle types, so it doesn't assume it's a pointer under the hood. It has some nice properties, so it's move only, non-copyable type. Like what's the nice property? Like the automatic casting to the underlying type. So when I want to pass it to like a C API that I don't control, I can just pass in the auto release object, and C++ will automatically pull out the internal object for me. So stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of why I use it. It's assuming, and also allows you to set an invalid value, because not every integer handle has invalid and 0. Some might be -1, etc. So it kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility. Of course, sometimes you can't even represent it because of the weird type system, and then that way at that point you just cry and fudge it. Oh shoot! I'm breaking my rule here, so this needs a name. Okay, fine. So I'm just going to super quickly wire this up. Sampler. Return name. And then say 3. Const. I could take it by value and move it, but who can be bothered? Okay, and then what do I need? Oop. Right. Jesus Christ. Okay, I want object label. So after I've created the sampler, I can GL sampler handle. I will slowly change all these from views to pass them and own the string, so I can pull them back at runtime, because I think that is useful. But for now, this is fine. Dev, I'm glad you feel inspired to do something. If you are interested in writing some shader code, if you head over to Discord, we have a community challenge on at the moment for the month of December, which is rapidly dwindling, so you might want to hop on that. But to write some shader code, and we'll do a live stream in the new year and go through some of the submissions. So we're doing resource management at the moment. Obviously, so the question is, would you just use an unordered map with a string for the key? I think that is fine. I I would suggest you look into heterogeneous lookup just as a way of optimizing it, so you can pass in string views for the lookups and various things. That's just like a thing you might want to look up. I'm experimenting with a few different ways of doing it. So for instance, the material manager, I'm using a flat map, which allows me to basically keep the data in contiguous memory. So I can still get a vector out of the underlying data, but I can still index it with a key. That key, it's still log n lookup because it's sorted, but it has nice properties that I can just basically take the entire data underneath this and throw it straight at the graphics card. So there's multiple different ways of doing it. Flatmaps has been here since C++ 23. It's just only GCC's only just gotten around to getting an implementation of it. I have not used any of the sync primitives. I have been lazy and just, what have I done? Just try to find it now. Literally cannot find it. Command buffer? SG. Here you go. When I resize the GPU buffer, I just call GL finish to force a full barrier there because I don't plan on resizing the GPU buffers very often. So I consider this a simpler implementation. Anyway, this code is all available if you want to kind of have a look at it. Where was I? Texture. Okay, so this also will now need to take a graphics sampler. I think I can probably take this by reference. Do I care? Oh, actually, I don't think I even need to store it. So I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So you are kind of so the question is it safe to pass the .data of a string view to a C API that takes a const char star as long as the data is a string literal? If you know in your heart of hearts that it is, then it is safe, but string view doesn't guarantee null termination. So that is kind of, you're effectively breaking the API promise of that. But like if you know, then you know, and that's fine. Just be wary that if you make that part of an interface that other people might call, or you might accidentally call with something else, it's not guaranteed to be. So you have guilty knowledge. Okay, is basically what I'm trying to say. So auto native handle const gl uint 64. I mean, it's BUB, right? So the whole PC could explode. Is that what I need? Because I'm not going to need a bind method, because it's the whole point of this scenario. I'm probably going to want auto name const. So here's a question for you. Does the texture own the data? Should this own the raw CPU data? Do I want to be hoofing this data around? Well, no, because at the moment, this is just an abstraction over an OpenGL texture, right? This just abstracts a integral handle to something on the GPU. So do we keep it as a pure handle abstraction, which just does all the OpenGL gubbins, or do we also say it owns the CPU side data as well? I'm just trying to think whether... I guess it's cheap to move, right? Because texture data just has a vector under the hood. What I'm thinking is if this ends up in a flat map, which is what I'm thinking it might do, then there's the chance that on other inserts it might have to move stuff around to maintain the sorted key invariant, which means I will then have to move these around. But as a rule of zero, I should get an implicit move constructor, which we know accept, which will then mean texture data is cheap to move because it's just moving 3 pointers. But the other question is, do we need to keep it around? Yeah, I'm thinking it doesn't need it. So I guess the question is, for what reason would I ever need to read that data again, and even if it's not managed elsewhere? I don't think it is, because even if this was something backing a frame buffer, I'd have to use different functions to retrieve it anyway. So I'm going to say no. I don't think I need it. Let's keep the code simple. Does the code even need to know its own width and height? That's the only other thing, is if I wanted to render a little square of this texture in GUI, I would need to probably access that raw texture data again. Well, I'm solving problems I don't have yet. Let's just keep it simple. Thanks. I'm glad we all agree. That's true, actually. You might be right. MGUI might just be able to just pull out raw OpenGL data. Okay, fine. Let's leave it as is then, because again, I feel like I'm trying to not solve problems I don't have. I've got enough problems I do have. Texture data. Should just copy these from the header file, so you can watch me type them all out again. Oh, I didn't call it handle, did I? That was stupid. Seems everything else is called handle, I think. I would say 99% of the time shared pointer is the wrong choice, because it's not free, right? It has a bunch of atomics inside it so that it works across multiple threads. So if you don't need that, you're basically paying a massive cost for something you don't need. Also, if you think about it, you can normally pull out memory lifetime and have a better understanding of it. Shared pointer is SharePoint's a bit of a crutch for lazy design, if I'm being honest. It's very easy to use, but it's not always the right choice. So I basically allocate everything at the beginning of the game and then just pass around references and pointers from there, because I know that the lifetime is kind of constrained to that, to that game. You know, if we were loading multiple levels, then I might have something like those levels. Some people call this arenas. You can call it whatever you want. But but I tend to just, think a bit more about the lifetime, because there is normally like a linear path that your program takes through the ownership. And, when you pull that out, you can kind of see that, oh, it should be allocated here and released here. Then everything else just gets a pointer or a reference to it. GL delete texture. Right, hang on. I gotta look at my notes now, because this is where it gets interesting. Unique pointer is normally what you want, and then you are well within your right and should feel empowered to hand out the pointer within that unique pointer to like operations that don't take ownership. Remember, smart pointers model ownership, right? Unique pointer models single or unique ownership, and share pointer models multiple or shared ownership. So, it's totally okay to have like a unique owner, and then it kind of passes out the internals to things that don't participate in the ownership of the lifetime or the ownership of that object. Okay, fine. This is, I think actually. Oh, hang on. I think this might be a GL uint. Okay, and then I think I might need a GL uint 64 bindless handle. And then bindless handle. Ooh. No, texture data is all this shit. Okay, so looking at some notes. So I need to do GL create textures, GL texture 2D, put one of them into hand. Can I do that? How do I do this with sampler? Because it's basically the same, isn't it? Oh yeah, thank you. Okay, so that will create the actual texture object. I then need to allocate some storage for it. So GL texture storage 2D handle. What is this? GL texture storage 2D. I think I just want one texture level, right? Because I'm not doing anything fancy. And then the format, and then the width, and then the height. So that'll be the format, and then we'll do texture dot width, texture dot height. And then we'll do namespace auto to OpenGL UFPS texture format. What are we doing? GL enum. Switch format using enum UFPS text format RGB, sorry, case RGB return GL RGB FB A, and then if we get down here, we'll just throw UFPS exception unknown texture format and this will need the utils formatter. Oh, I haven't created a format for that yet, have I? Okay, so text data inline auto to string text format. Do I call it option all the others? I'm just trying to think. I thought I had a reasonably consistent naming convention, but I might be wrong. Trying to think where else I've got one of these. I guess it doesn't really matter. Where else have I got an enum? Oh no, I do call it the object. Okay, fine. Format. That's string. String. So I'm just going to quickly add this just to make my life a little bit easier. Oh, don't know what's in there. Switch format using enum text format case RGB return RGB a default unknown. Well, it doesn't do anything. Just a random PR value floating around. Yes, I'm going to be using reflection as soon as I can. Okay, fine. So that should now work. So that's fine. So now I can go here and do two OpenGL. I probably should pull out all these two OpenGL functions into a utils, but I will if we start using them in multiple places. I would not consider doing a project like this in C because I don't actually know C that well. So I would be learning like how to do idiomatic and good C kind of at the same time. Whereas at least this, I can kind of focus more on the implementation details and the design and stuff because I'm more familiar with C++. Okay, so now I need a new function. Actually, where's all the other texture gubbins? Okay, let's do open GL get text. Oh, sorry. Open GL get. Oh, already off to a bad start. Oh, I can't find what I want, which is a little bit worrying. Oh, is this my notes wrong? Hang on. Yeah, I want want this function here. Get texture sampler handler ARB. These are used to create the bindless handles for the texture, right? So I use texture and sampler, but I don't understand why. Oops, delete. Oh, Jesus. I cannot use a computer. A little bit concerning that it's not here. PFNGL get. Oh, here you go. Right, I was just typing it. I was just being stupid. Sampler handler ARB proc. Okay, so that will create a bindless handle, and then I need to make it resident. And I think making it resident basically tells the GPU to not move it around anywhere because I've got a handle to it in this array. So you kind of have to pin it to GPU memory, is my understanding. Could be wrong. I've been known to be on occasion. PFN GL make texture handle resident ARB proc. GL make texture handle resident ARB. Not that one. Oh, non-resident. Oh, actually, I need that one as well anyway. So I have to undo the do. Okay, right. So I should be able to do things. Okay, fine. So what do I want to do now? I want to do, now that I've done this, I want to do GL make texture handle resident ARB with the handle, and then with the sampler dot native handle. Nope. Wrong one. Don't know what I'm doing. GL get texture. There you go. And then I need oh, hang on, minus handle. And then sampler. Sorry, I just need to copy over object label. After I've created that, GL texture. Okay. And then, oh, hang on. That needs to have bindless handle equals that. So that's how you get the bindless handle, right? So I hand that out to the basically that needs to end up at some point in a shader via probably the material, and then you use, no, wait a minute. No, I need to create an unbounded array in the shader of all the bindless handles, and then I can index into that, and GLSL will treat that 64 uint64 as a sampler 2D object. Okay, sure. GL make texture handle resident, and then that is the bindless handle you put into there. And then texture, this now needs to have a destructor, which means rule of 5, I actually now need to do texture equal, it's non-copyable, so that's fine. So I think I can just default that. Texture operator texture. I'm just trying to think if that's going to end up with a resource leak. So if I destruct it, I will unmap it, but then I'll release the handle anyway. It's non-copyable, so I think that's fine. Sorry, just musing to myself. Where's my what? Tilda, hello. There you go. That was 25 minutes there. Now I need to do GL make non-resident minus handle. QR texture.cpp. Check all this blends. This is quite a lot we've changed. I'm probably just going to try and fudge it into, because I'm going to need to create a texture manager which maintains like the global array and the invariant and adding stuff to that and regrowing that. I think for now I'm just going to try and render like everything with the same texture. I think, and then the next stream we can build all that out. I just want to prove this works because this is a bit more farting around in this than I expected. Okay. Where do we load the cube? Where is our cube when it's at home? Okay. So this will be float S, float T, and then position will have a UV, which means this will then need to be plus size of float times 2. Okay. Now for a little bit of ranges. I've already got it installed. I've already got it there. Right. Won't the texture be killed by the auto release? That will GL delete the texture. It's just that I suppose I could put that in the lambda. No, because I won't have access to the Bindless texture handle. Yeah, because the texture itself has auto release handle, so that will get cleaned up anyway. Okay, so basically I have so this is the vertex data, right? And it's stored as a bunch of positions and a bunch of UVs. The size of these match, so I need to basically pairwise connect these up, which is basically a zip, right? So I think I should be able to do something like template class ... args. So I want to take a variadic template of each one will be a range over some vertex data, right? And then I want to do auto vertices equals auto vertices args, take those, create a stud vector of UFPS vertex data. So I want to basically zip these together. So return stud views zip transform, I think I want. And then, hang on, I've got some notes on this somewhere. Yeah, here we go. So we're going to take so zip transform will run a lambda over all the zipped ranges, but when you zip a bunch of ranges, you get a new range where each element is a tuple of the sort of pairwise elements of them all. So the first iteration will have this and this. The next one will have this and this, etc., etc. So we can use that just to kind of literally zip all the data together and return a vertex. So we return the vertex data and then stud forward the A, I think it's clever enough to unpack whatever the internal range type is. And then I need to actually put in the original thing. So that, and then stood ranges to stood vector. It's just a normal C++. So then I think I can do get rid of all this and basically just do vertices, positions, UVs. Nice. If that works, then it just means that when we want to add other stuff like normals or whatever, we can just keep adding types here and just add them here, and then the template magic will make it happen. Okay, fine. So that should give us some vertex data. Now the final thing is I need to get this. So let's go to renderer. So how does one? So the vertex data, because we're doing pulling, should be able to be float UV2. And then vec2 get UV uint index, return vec2 data index dot UV naught 1. Okay, so that should allow me to pull out the UVs, because remember, all the vertex data is just one massive array. Again, everything is basically in a massive array. So the vertex data is in a massive array, so we don't have any vertex attributes or anything like that. We literally just pull in the bits we need. So then I should be able to outparam don't want it flat, do want it vec2 UV. So we have to UV equals get UV GL careful vertex ID. I think that's right. And then in here, float UV3. R1 in vec2 UV. Okay, not 2, definitely not 2. Yes, getting there. Okay, so now I should be able to get the bindless sampler in here. So I think, so just checking my notes. Hash extension GLARB bindless. So annoyingly, bindless textures is technically a extension because it never got folded into core before they stopped updating core, but all modern graphics cards do support it. That's a bold claim. I think there's something in the chat there about some GPUs that don't support it, but I'm reasonably confident most modern CPUs will support it. And then I think I can just pass this in as a uniform, which again is not really the point, but I think it's enough to get us going. So let's do layout location equals 0 uniform sampler 2D text. So the idea is eventually this will become an SSBO of all of them. Oh, should I just do that from the start? Oh, but I haven't got any way to manage that memory yet. Let's just prove that we have correctly uploaded something to the GPU and created a bindless handle and can correctly render something and then tear everything down. And then we'll swiftly later on delete this and move it into something like this. So eventually there'll be textures size ? And then we'll just index into them. Because material will eventually have an int in here, which is like albedo index and null index and specular index. Yeah, okay, fine. So then I need to... I've not set any uniforms up until now, so I've got to remember how that works. I Am I good at this? I don't know, you tell me. Okay, so when we render, I think I should be able to just set it for everything, right? So I need to do GL uniform. I don't want GL program uniform. Oh, that's interesting. But I think oh, I thought this had a 64-bit. Oh, I bet it's an extension. Hang on, I think this is easier. Oh, actually, that's a lie. I don't know if it's easier, but I'm just going to do pfngl program uniform GL. I don't think I want the program uniform handle. That's it. What I want. Right, GL program uniform handle u unsigned integer 64 arb. Yeah, I think it's just some extension I found in my notes when I was doing some research for this. But again, I'm only going to be using it now, so as long as I can load it, I think it makes things easier, because then I can do GL program that, and then I should be able to do what's the program I bind? I think program dot. I know. That's annoying. I thought I exposed the native handle for that. Quick change in and out. Okay, fine. So dot native handle. Then I can pass the the location, which I think is 0. Hard code that, and then the 64-bit handle. So that'd be the, oh Christ, I've got no way of oh my goodness, how do I get the texture into here? I'm gonna do something horrific. It's true. I have lost quite a lot of my hair. I blame C++. I shouldn't have any relevance to what I'm talking about, though. Okay, fine. So now, scene dot the one texture dot native handle. Too few arguments. Interesting. I thought that was all. Program location, count, and values. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's the var one. Oh, did someone say I had the wrong one? I want the one above it. Oh, it's frozen Vim. Come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Figure it out. Figure it out. I believe. I believe. It really hates this file. Okay. Where did I add that? Here we go. It's V. I want that V. I want that V gone. Get it out of here. Renderer. Okay. Right. This will work. This will just produce beautiful textures. Oh no, it won't, because I've not actually put the texture into main yet. So I should be able to do dot. Oh no, hang on, it's gonna be a reference, isn't it? So let's do. Oh, right, get there in a minute. Graphics, texture, and yeah, and then do auto texture scene. Main, right, const texture equals UFPS texture diamond floor albedo diamond floor. What else? Oh, and a sampler. Oh my goodness. Right. Let's just I'll just do it all, shall I? Graphics sampler. Okay. Const auto sampler equals UFPS sampler I can't remember what I want. I can't remember what any of these do. Do I just want linear for all of them? Linear, and then simple sampler. Sure. Okay. And then this should really be diamond floor texture equals diamond floor albedo sampler. Okay, and then dot the one texture equals downfall texture. Whew. I think it's crashed, yeah. Invalid enum. Internal format not supported. Texture line 37. Can you only bindless RGBA? Oh, that's the storage. And then it didn't throw that exception, did it? Terminated to call off thrown instance of UFS exception. Internal format is not supported. Hey? GL texture storage 2D internal format. Oh, did someone specify this? Didn't I? Do I need that? I think someone might have said this, and I think I ignored them. Okay. Expected, because I've not actually sampled from it in the renderer yet, have I? So vec color will be, let's do get color times text UV. It'd be nice to have the tinting in there. Oof. Cannot call a non-function. Oh, hang on, is it texture text? Yeah, I think you're right. One day we'll standardize 8 bits in a byte. Does it cost from Vic? Come on, just run. Invalid operation. Sampler handle updates are not allowed if the bindless sample qualifier is. Oh, have I gotta make my sampler bindless? Okay. Okay. In fact, actually, I'm pretty sure Iris has done this. Oh, wait a minute, no. So why is this? Do I need to? I think I need to qualify this. Beautiful. It thinks the object's there, but it's certainly not like the what? Why is that? I can't use render doc. Did I upload the data? What a great question. No, I did not. I allocated enough space for it, so it's all black. But I didn't put any data in that. GL texture sub image 2D handle, and then I think it's like 0, 0. What is this? GL texture sub image 2D. Yeah, well, because presumably this space gets default initialized to 0. Level 0 offset, 0 offset. Texture dot width, texture dot height. Format will be to OpenGL. Oh, this is the one where you don't want the 8 on the end because you specify it separate. Oh, so annoying. Such an annoying API. What do you mean? Can I just write with a memcopy then or something? What am I missing? Bind section, you can write to their data but can't resize them. How do I write to it? Do I need to map? Do I just need to map it? If you look at the supported formats for this, they are has to be one of these, right? Because you then specify the type, the size afterwards, which is really annoying. They're different enums, they're different values. Oh, I see. Okay, fine, cool. So I now need to do. Jesus. I hate everything. Oh yeah, fine. I'll fix it in a minute. let me just try and get this working. That was a good point. So GL unsigned byte, and then I want texture. Are you ready for it? Data. Oh, boom. Ah, textures. Okay. Let me just fix that super quick. Because, yeah, you're right. Let's do bool include size. False. Okay. That still blends. What? Oh, did I forget to delete the other one? I just have warnings as errors. God, that was quite a lot. I'm actually quite pleased we got that far. I was hoping we might be able to do add some basic lights and then do, because I'm going to do, oh, look at that. Look at that awful artifact there. Love it. Fix that later. Because I was hoping to do, well, we're going to do a deferred renderer, but I want to throw in a basic light to start with, just so we can check everything works before we go and do that. But that's pretty sweet. Does it stretch it? Oh, it does stretch it. Nice. Yeah, so I think next stream we'll build out like just a single point light, so we can move, so we can get looking a little bit more interesting, and then we'll add normal maps and specular maps. I want to do emissive maps eventually as well, but until we get bloom, there's no point doing it. So we'll add that, and then I want to go like full bindless in SSBO, index into it, update the material system, pull all that through, wire it all up into GUI. Then I want to take a good hard look at all the buffer usage, because I think I've made some mistakes in how the types of buffers I'm using and how it's structured. I think we've got a bit of duplicate code in how we manage multiple buffers. So we're going to go through all that. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good place to end. So let's... All these assets are CC0, so I'm okay to check them in. So if people want to put it down, play around with it, they can. Let's see. So what have we added? Add sampler class, and then I can do add texture class. I think this, where did I add this texture data for? Let's go and amend that. Add more OpenGL functions. Oh, that really should have been done before the texture class, but I cannot bother to rebase it now. Print expose native handle from program. LearnOpenGL.com, I would say, is probably the best place to go. Add UV to Vertex data. I think just put render cubes with texture. Integrate changes. Okay, let's see where we at. A lot of commits today. Stream 9. We shall see. Okay, let's push that up, and I'll do the git magic, and we'll get that merged in. If it lets me, those textures are, I think they're 2K, so I'm hoping Git doesn't want me to set up large GLFS or whatever it is. Okay, fine. That's create pull request, minus textures, post Discord, create a patch change, create pull request, and just let those we'll just let those run. That is sad. I've worked on a large pre C++ 11 code base, and it is quite the challenge. I think I was like, oh, I don't have lambdas or range-based force loops. So I feel your pain. Okay, I don't know if we're going to sit here and watch all this go. I don't know if I can bother. Like, I might just do this in slow time and merge it, seeing we're not even at the building stage yet. Okay, I will. It's just checking out all the stuff. Right, I'm gonna let that run in slow time. Let me. Okay, cool. Thanks everyone for coming along. A slightly longer stream today, but I really wanted to get that done. I think we've got a good place now. We've got something we can definitely build on, which is good. So it should start rapidly looking better now, because we can start adding more features. So like I said, we're going to add normal maps. Normal maps is interesting because we need to do TBN nonsense, and we need to do a normal matrix. So there's a bunch of chuff we need to do there. Then we should be able to do point light, specular map. So that'll look quite nice. And then I want to do a bit of work, probably burn a stream or two on getting decent ImGUI integration with that. I want to be able to see the textures, construct materials, twiddle all the values, and we should be able to actually add new cubes as well. So I think that'd be quite good. Yeah, I think it looked pretty good. Yes, and like I think whilst it might not seem like bindless textures is that much of an advantage over the regular one, when we fully SSBO it, I think you'll see it should become quite clear how useful it is, because we're just going to be throwing integers at the materials, and it's just going to pull them in like everything else. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for coming along. No stream this Wednesday. Do come on to Discord. That's where the schedule is. I do try and update the schedule on Twitch and YouTube as well, so people know what's going on. But no stream Wednesday. I'll see you all hopefully next Sunday, and I will see you all anon.